All right, everyone. This meeting is called to order at a timely 5:41 p.m. We'll start off with our territorial acknowledgement. The Board of Directors acknowledges that the University of Waterloo is on the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. Our organization operates on the Haldeman Tract, land promised to the Six Nations, which includes 6 miles on each side of the Grand River. So this is going to be our last regular board meeting. With that, I guess I'll say a few things, as we kind of come to an end here. I'm very hopeful that our kind of last board meeting will be a good one. Looking at the agenda, I kind of expect it to be, which is nice. I think we can end this well. I'll say I've been very impressed with the board this year. Came into this unsure about what the team as a whole will look like, but I'll say everyone has been very active, very involved. The attendance has been amazing. And so I'll say that I've been very happy, and I hope to see that, us finish on a strong note as well, before we close things off. A few things I do want to say for this specific agenda is that we will be moving, or I'll be pushing to move one of our agenda items from our, it's I guess a confidential report to the very start. So that would be our 3rd time in a row doing that, and that is my bad. Apologies, folks. My bad planning. But we'll have that at the start before we go into our regular public session. Even just because today Kumar is joining us from India on his vacation, and so the faster we can make it for him to get back to the important stuff that is his time off, the better. And so I'll say I'm very appreciative for Kumar for joining us. I've noticed that this isn't the first time this year where staff has joined us during their leave at a board meeting. So I've been very, very happy for kind of level of commitment. Shouldn't have to do that, but I appreciate that, staff went out of their way to do that, I think, several times this year. On that note, I actually don't have much else to say. So we'll get straight to it. On agenda approval, I'm going to kind of move this on consent to move. Esther, what can I say here? Do I have to say the specific item? Okay, I'll just say I'm moving a confidential report to the right before new business. Is that okay with everyone? Perfect. Okay, we'll do that. Any issues with the agenda? Seeing none, the agenda is adopted. Any conflicts of interest this time around? No. Okay, I think that means we've only had one meeting that we've ever had conflicts of interest. So very cool. With that, we'll move into our consent agenda. Am I expecting anything to be pulled out of consent? None.
I do want to make one comment.
Yes.
On the recommendation for elections for referendum committee. Is this standard that we submit the dates this early on?
It's a good question. It is not.
Yeah.
So this is a conversation that had with our, sorry, CRO or C, what's the CRO with our that's correct. Yeah, with our CRO following the election, there were some conversations with some staff around, if we want to better plan our elections, having those dates earlier means they can actually plan it. And so this was moved. The conversation was had, can we approve it earlier to do it so that staff can better prepare? Yeah, is this a real question? Do we have to take it out of consent?
No, I think I'm making comment.
Okay, go ahead.
If this is a regular thing, I ask that we amend our governance calendar, because right now it says we do it in November in our governance calendar, like it's stated items and we approved it in November, so it's something to do in the future meeting.
It's a good thing. I don't know, maybe someone can bring up, during the roll. So actually, but yes, you are right. So you are right. That is not me, turning you down. I'm just saying that good news is you can make sure that happens. Perfect. All right. Any objections to the consent or needs to pull anything out to consent? Seeing none. Great. All right. The consent agenda is adopted. I do want to add a piece before we go into a regular agenda that I forgot to mention that I should have mentioned, and this is the issue why you should always prepare chair notes, and I did not. We have the incoming board joining us online. So I'd like to thank everyone from the incoming board who was able to make it this time around. Many of the incoming board are also sitting in this room as they are current board. So I do want to add that acknowledgement. I will say that you guys are free to ask questions or to speak, and that's such. I will say these meetings do tend to go long, and so feel free to ask questions of clarification. I want it very clear that if you guys don't understand something or you want more information on something, please feel free to ask. You can raise your hand on the Teams meeting, and I will see you and I will call on you.
I don't know the C part.
Sometimes I'll see you. When I do see you, I will call on you. But feel very free. And if you feel like you have a very good, important piece of input, raise your hand and we'll hear from you. And we'll also let you know if the board is looking for some extra input from you guys. But thank you for joining us. With that, we have no presentations and no unfinished business. So I will say that we're going into confidential. Mike, do you think you could take us in? I don't think we need a motion because it's on agenda and learning. Is Mohammed here? Yes, I think.
You need time to read it. Wait, this food arrives.
Oh, I see how it is. You get here at the food list.
Send it out.
Hey, yeah, Rory's getting it. He's bringing it in. Yeah, he's.
I might need help.
I possibly. You look like he was having a hard time.
Oh,
Okay.
How many directors does it take to get an Uber delivery?
It's more than it should. Okay, we are back into our new business. Now, fun question is I'll ask kind of
Are we live?
yes. Buddy, I'm sharing here.
I was listening.
Yeah, well, then don't ask me. So my apologies. My question to the board is as food arrives, we can either discuss 5.1 suspending GovCom first, and then get to the food, or do it the other way around. Now, I'll say I think after GovCom is closer to the middle than the other way around, but
I think do GovCom and then it's a 30-minute brief, right? Right at 7, food. Yeah.
okay.
Blue reward for the motion.
Yes, I look to Samir and Mohammed, because I imagine you two are kind of central to this discussion as well. You guys okay with doing it?
I want to do the motion first.
Kind of over the head of the conversation?
I want to get it done with.
Okay.
It's been 3 months.
Okay, then, on that note, we are on to 5.1, disbanding the governance committee. Very straight to the point name there, Samir. Be it resolved that the board disband the governance committee, be it further resolved that the board strike section 4.6.2 from the board policy manual. It is submitted by Samir Sharma. I'm looking for a seconder, seconded by Skylar. And with that, would the mover like to motivate?
Welcome to the funeral of GovCom. This is a new time. I think the main point of committees in a governance model is to make sure that work can be delegated down and that board can come make a final decision, but really the work's within my committees. Ever since the new governance model we've seen, every argument at GovCom is relitigated at board and sometimes at multiple rounds back and forth. Governance is also the responsibility of the whole board. That is what board is here for. I think we've seen advantages on stuff like governance reform where committee is needed. But now that we've had time the last couple of years to finish my board policy manual, make the amendments, add the extra stuff, there isn't really much left to do. And having a committee itself just motivates more and more governance work to be done when it's not needed. I am not saying we should never do governance. I'm saying that committee is not needed. I know that there was an idea for how to better do, I'll say, pre-planning of motions that Damien and Mohammed had a conversation. I don't know if you want to motivate that, Damien, when I'm done, but that seems like also a good thing to make sure that that communication and feedback piece isn't lost without a committee. So I'm very much in favor of this, and I hope board is as well. Thank you so much, Damien.
I'll just say on that point, it's not so much mine as it is Mohammed, so I'm going to let Mohammed talk on that idea. I was just going to say, and I did see you, Ari, as well. No, yeah, I know. I'm just saying I see the order here. I just wanted to say, I think for me, the biggest thing is around kind of finding work where there is none, is my opinion on matters of internal governance and like how board manages itself, that if there isn't an issue, then there isn't an issue for most situations. I think there are times where, you know, you do need to renew things. And I think that is the job of the board as a whole to keep a track of, but also we have staff here in place that keep track of those kind of cycles. And I think in many ways, it's for the same reason that Samir talked about of relitigation. It is the thing that board, I think, thinks about honestly the most anyways. And so having that delegated down just leads to relitigation. But yeah, my philosophy going into how committees are made and are decided is a limited amount of standing committees with ad hocs being used when needed. I think we maybe even underutilize ad hoc committees. And so I think governance has not shown itself to be, I think, particularly effective as a standing committee at making things run any smoother. I think some stuff that has come out of governance committee has, but I don't think that only would have happened because of governance committee existing as a standing committee. I think we need to better utilize ad hoc committees, and so that's what I have to say on that front. But I see Mohammed.
Thank you. Yeah, we're finally here. I think we set this down the track 6 months ago, and finally having the discussion. I think we've hopefully come to learn a lot over the last 6 months. We've had, a lot of more governance motions flow directly to the board table opposed to how they were done prior, where we'd have them pass through the governance committee. I'm going to start by saying I think I understand the concerns that have been made regarding the governance committee. There are definitely concerns that can be leveled. I think Damien brought up a good one, which is perhaps the overbearing need to keep workshopping governance when there's no need to. My disagreement, I think, stems from the fact that what board loses by nature of not having a governance committee is not remedied. And I guess it doesn't outweigh the losses. So what we lose is not outweighing the gains by this being gone. However, as Damien and Samir already hinted, there might be something in the pipeline. I think I'm going to talk about a couple more things before I get there so we can link it up properly. So I think some of the points is that, like the governance committee rehashes a lot of discussion, and that ends up taking a lot of time. We spend time on committee, we spend time on board. I think what I would say to that is if we were to have motions directly come to the board table, my argument would be that they would take equally, if not longer time. I would say they take longer. I think we've looked at a lot of the governance motions that have come forward, and I can name at least 5 which have been amended on the floor and have had significant discussion time. So motions that come to the board table directly end up taking a pretty long period of time. And I think that's important to note because, again, we've had an issue with long board meetings this year, and those tend to make us all erratic towards the end. We don't want to sit through them, and we end up forcing motions to a vote as opposed to having things flow through the proper channels. And so, again, this is things we've noted. talking about referral of items, I think, again, it's useful to have things referred down. Damien mentioned having ad hoc committees. And yes, I do think we've underutilized ad hoc committees. If we want to have that discussion, I think part of that stems to making the creation of ad hoc committees easier. Right now we need it to come to the board table, but let's say midway through a month, there's something comes up and we want to create an ad hoc committee. Well, we need easier pathways to get to that stage. That way we can actually, move at a rapid rate, because I think it's pretty clear to know that our board likes moving, or boards generally like moving quite fast. So let's accumulate all these opinions. And I think what Damien and I actually discussed is somewhere of the nature of a set of like pre-board meetings that would occur on a regular basis over an extended period of time. So like bi-monthly perhaps. And essentially these meetings would allow directors, they would allow individuals to move forward motions and attain buy-in feedback from individual directors. And essentially it goes on the idea of coalition building, talking about motions, refining motions, amending motions ahead of the board table. This would be entirely optional. It's sort of like an informal meeting. It's not a board meeting. I have to be very clear about that for Onca standards. And there's something in the pipeline, something being worked on. But I think if we were to have something of that nature, where we would give directors the opportunity to get feedback on motions before they come to the board table, have that opportunity for further refinement, critique, and improvement, that would, in many ways, and also again, this committee can also be delegated work by the board in an ad hoc format if necessary. And so essentially, it would be great. Like it would match the goals, it would match what I feel we lose by losing a governance committee, but it also add in a whole lot of additional items that would make our entire process better and how we deal with motions, period. And so what I'll end by saying is, I think if again, this is something that's in the pipeline. We came up with it yesterday, a little bit late, but we came up with it yesterday. I think hopefully if we can get, more buy-in and more discussion on that idea, that would cleanse and practically clear up majority of my concerns, if not all my concerns I have in regards to the dissolution of the committee. And so again, if there is buy-in or appreciation for that idea, I certainly wouldn't stand in the way of this motion.
Thank you. Howard, I just quickly want to add a little bit of kind of extra information to clarify things. I think for Sandra, you might recognize it as kind of committee of the whole kind of situation here, where essentially I also want to clarify what bi-monthly means, because it's always a weird one. It's not 2 times a month, it's once every 2 months. I should clarify the way I was thinking about it. It's essentially, in the most simplest format, it's board can meet every 2 months without the pressure of, a motion is going to be passed or not passed at this meeting, which I think maybe puts pressure in the board meeting to not have a real true back and forth discussion, because I can't agree with you on anything because I need this motion to pass right now. And so that's in one way it can help with, is to create kind of more real back and forth discussion, because there's not the pressure that needs to happen right now. I will remind that we're not actually litigating this specific item for this motion. It's kind of an interesting situation where I think for Mohammed, it is an important part of his vote is dependent on whether or not he believes it is possible, for there to be an alternative that could work. And so if there's we are discussing disbanding GovCom. I do want to, acknowledge this nuance, so I'll leave a little bit of fluidity there. But that's kind of the conversation we had. I'll go to Sandra first.
It's okay to go with Samir, and then I'll offer my comments.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think I'll try to do too much litigation on it, but a working group, whatever it isn't officially passing or recommending, but it's more just board coming together, talking, giving feedback. Staff can have a chance to give feedback. I know the pressure of passing it, but that day I like it a lot. So I think I appreciate Mohammed and Dave and you guys meeting and me later being filled in. I think it's really good. And I think the one piece I'll litigate on GovCom itself is, yes, we have conversation back and forth with, actually not one more thing on that thing, I'm sorry. I don't think you need to formalize this thing. I think you just meet, or you've understanding that you're going to meet every 2 months. I don't think you need a formal term of reference. But on GovCom, even though the work will be there twice, like you said, that the board meetings will still be long, I still think that the time we spend at board doing work, on whatever motion directly to board, is going to be less than board plus committee on GovCom motions. So the net time is going to be less, in my opinion. And I'm still in favor of removing GovCom.
And just right before I go to Sandra, I just want to clarify, I think I also thought it didn't necessarily have to be formalized, but it might have to be formalized because I should note that if all of board is talking, that becomes official in some sense, I believe.
It's a board meeting.
Yeah, so there needs to be some sort of.
Sure, I'm in favor of it. Whoever works, as long as no one officially passed the motion.
Yeah, okay, I'll go to Sandra.
Thank you. Thank you. My comments are going to be more on looking at governance from a best practice standpoint. 100% agree. Don't have a committee if you don't need a committee because it will just create additional work. However, the board does have an accountability to make sure that there are two things, and I want to make sure that we're keeping them clear. One is the structure of governance itself, which is what we've spent a lot of time this past year on. What does our governance structure look like? And then the other piece is just keeping your governance documents and things like that up to date. So those easily can be worked into the board work plan. You've got time on the agenda for when it's going to be coming forward. So there are ways of doing a lot of the things that a governance committee might have done in the past, which achieves, I think, some of the pieces that you're looking at. So there are opportunities to do that. And I think we can make that work going forward. A caution, though, of creating another opportunity for the board to get together to debate issues, because that's a board meeting. And so you're very quickly going to get in a different cycle. 100% agree that if you're thinking about bringing something forward as a director, talking to other directors before and the staff before you bring it forward is a good way of developing things. And you should be doing that anyway, rather than a cold to the agenda. So that's a good culture to get involved. So just my observations and comments. There's nothing legally that requires you to have the governance committee anywhere.
Thank you, Sandra. I think I saw Arya first.
I call the question. I think we exhausted the conversation on the actual motion. We're now going into other areas.
The question has been called, so, well, the question has been called, so that's that. I did warn you about the impacts of having food right after as well, I will say. But, okay. All those.
Is there a seconder?
Yeah, thank you. No, Samir, I appreciate that one. Okay, all those in favor of calling the question? All those against? Actually should have counted 1, 2, 3. Can I get all those in favor again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, it passes. The question's been called. It's 8-4. With that, we'll go straight to the vote. All those in favor of disbanding GovCom? 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. All those against? All those abstaining? 1, 2, 3. All right, so on that note, the motion to disband GovCom has passed. Okay. I was gonna ask incoming board, I apologize. With that, I'm looking for a motion to recess for 12 minutes. No, wait, 1 second. Yeah, 12 minutes, quick. Okay, moved by Katie, seconded by Samir. All those in favor, put your hands up. Okay, all those against? Okay, there we go. It passes. That's everyone. All right. We're recessed. We'll be back at
It's about the food.
55.
What happened?
Right, can we move this in?
Oh, wait.
Until I say.
All right. Hello, guys. Welcome back. There's been new food on the table, so less anger, hopefully. And we will move on to our reports. Our first report is from our executive director. Is there anything you would like to verbally say?
What's going on in change? That highlight is they're looking to move. Actually, let me start. We're looking to amalgamate our capital fund fees. So currently, the SLC capital and for maintenance fees actually in our operations, WUSA operations fee. We're going to hopefully beginning in September, we're going to centralize that with the capital fund and have this one capital fee, and then internally we'll administer and break it down that way. So the WUSA operations fee will go down by the same amount as the capital fund go up. I just wanted that, it's just in there for information. We're also looking to a little bit of an announcement this year and trying to do it each year of any fee changes in August. First, we'll submit the fee. But there have been any changes in well, for
I think that capital one makes sense for sure. Yeah. All right. Questions for the public ED report? Oh, yes.
thing is the publications report is in the board files. Andreas is happy to jump on and answer questions if anybody had any from that report, and if folks haven't had an opportunity to read it and want to ask outside, also feel free to do that.
Yeah.
I think I have some feedback on publications, but I'll do it in confidential because of stuff I want to say.
Great to know. Okay. Seeing nothing else, back to the report, I suppose. Okay, and then next up is our president's report, who should be noted. It is also in the SharePoint. I have submitted it whopping 10 minutes before the board meeting, so I'm sure you guys had a great chance to read it. The public one, as usual, is not huge, but we've got some stuff there. We had the politics about the podium events with regional councillor Colleen James, who kind of chairs the, I'm not going to remember the name of the committee, but it's the one to do with infrastructure, sustainability and development is actually the name of the committee, which also covers stuff like transit and all this other stuff that I think are very relevant to students, as well as Mayor Dorothy McCabe attended. The event went very well, so lots of credit to David Kuhn and the team for getting that going. And thank you to Remington and Jaden. Yeah, and Remington and Jaden for hosting it as well. Did a great job. I will say turnout was much better than I expected, considering the timing of the event, which was right before the long Easter weekend. So I was very happy with that. And it seemed like the politicians were as well. On the other note, some updates on OSAP stuff. Excuse me, moi. And Andrew, you can feel free to add anything here if I missed something. But after some organizing among the student senators, Andrew came up with the idea of putting Senator Andrew, of putting up a proposal to the Senate to create a new grant of $800,000 to help mitigate the impacts of OSAP. We all acknowledge that the cuts to OSAP are going to be larger than that, but we want to do what we can to help mitigate it the most possible. The Senate Executive Committee, which kind of controls the agenda, rejected the proposal to put it on the agenda because they felt like they still needed information on what specific number is best. And also, I think an important one for them was they wanted to know what the actual impacts of the OSAP cuts are on like student finances. And so I found it to be interesting because the answer is more than that. So you're only going to be revising it upwards. That's okay. I digress. At the Senate meeting, we had the conversation of, okay, we can't put a specific number in and all this kind of stuff. What we can do is force the university to commit to actually doing something as opposed to doing the we need more data, we need more data, we need more data thing. And so we moved a motion from the floor that had it so that the provost had to not only return that data on the actual impacts of the OSAP cuts on student finances back to Senate, but also has to return with options to mitigate those impacts, as opposed to just, oh, we're collecting data and monitoring the situation. So that motion was adopted on consent without objection, and it worked. So a motion passing from the floor at Senate is highly unusual. So a lot of credit to not only the student senators and Andrew in particular, but also to kind of the members of the university who, you know, realize the impacts of this and the importance that this is a, you know, for unusual circumstances, we need an unusual response sometimes. And I think that's what we saw. On that note, that is kind of the end of my public report. Any questions? Okay. Being none. Pass it to Remington.
I don't have one.
That's okay. Do you have anything you want to say or no?
I think I'll just mention that Damien and I and Samir and Rory and Rita went to Queen's Park on was it April 1st, 2nd?
Time has no meaning, I don't.
I think
Sometime early in April, before my exam, for the NDP's vote on reversing the OSAP changes. A lot. I think we had like 60 people-ish at various events and stuff throughout the day. Damien was in a video that they made about it. And they forced a vote on it. It did not pass, obviously, but we were glad to be there to make sure Waterloo student voices were heard, and we will continue doing things.
Yeah, I think we're at the point where we have to make sure, and I think this is something to highlight, is that on OSAP, it needs to remain a politically relevant issue. It needs to remain an issue that one is either so annoying to the government that they can, you know, that they understand that, okay, maybe we fucked up here and reverse course in the future, or make it so politically important that they have to face the consequences and it pushes the other parties to reverse the cuts if something changes. So those are kind of our two options. And we'll have to see what the government chooses on that front. Again, questions for Rem's report? Yes, sir.
In general, being the last regular board meeting of the year, give big thanks to the two officers for sacrificing a year of their lives. It's been an insane year. Just big thanks to the two of you and all on board.
I know.
I'm taking it back.
Thank you, Samir. Any actual questions?
I do, yeah.
Oh, you'll see another video coming out soon. Okay. With that, we're on to director report. Oh, hello.
It's a question on the OSAP.
Yeah.
Do we have any more plans for further engagement?
I'll be honest, it's kind of leaving our, I think that there needs to be more, but it is kind of leaving our terms.
Yeah.
So I'd keep an eye on it. I'll say you'll have a little bit of difficulty kind of mobilizing too heavily in the spring because a lot of people there is quite a bit of a decrease of amount of people on campus.
And it'll be like, even if we do manage to do anything, it'll be basically just at Waterloo.
Yeah. My advice on it is that even though you may not be able to do things highly significant over the spring, bless you, Sandra. Even though it's okay. You may not be able to do things highly significant during the spring. It is very important to keep it kind of in the public consciousness so that it is not as hard to ramp up in the fall. So that's kind of the advice I'll give, is just because you can't do big doesn't mean don't do anything. Keep it so that people somewhat remember it's happening, so it's not surprising when it ramps up. But that's just advice from someone who doesn't get to decide. Yeah, okay. We're on to director reports. Okay. Mohammed.
The Engineering Society continues to look towards splitting its fee into a mandatory and optional version, and they are planning to have a referendum by the end of the month in accordance with internal WUSA deadlines and ahead of the Board of Governors vote that will approve the fee in June. So we are on track for that.
Well, is that public?
It should be. It occurred at a public joint annual general meeting.
Okay, then that's the answer to that. Thank you. I see a question, actually.
Question on that, like, from my understanding, the university doesn't really accept fees after a certain day unless they've kind of messed up, like, well, I kind of, we're at staff, what's kind of the way if they somehow get a referendum done? I don't know if you can really run a fair referendum in 14 days, but I'll digress, to
I'm just gonna
get it done.
I'm just gonna say, be careful with
Yeah,
this conversation because there's a lot of details that we may not know.
yes,
But ask your question.
yeah, just like, what's the process to get fees approved, which I believe is public, the fact that we ratify society fees of the Board of Governors. Looking at staff.
Our deadline is,
Right. I saw another,
I missed what Suzanne said. Sorry, I'm gonna pink you.
deadline for fees is May 1st, for changing fees is May
Yeah.
1st. Andrew?
So Mohammed, like as far as you know, like do you know like the details? Like is their capital fee gonna be like operating similar to how like WUSA runs their operating fee? I mean like capital fee, or is it like how is your capital fee gonna work?
Sure, I'll keep it brief for Damien's sake, and if you have any more questions, let me know offline. Essentially, what it does is there's part of the NSHLC general budget that pays for things like sponsorships and capital projects, and we want to give students like the agency to opt into that or not. And so essentially, we would be reducing our general fee by a certain percentage that will be confirmed shortly, and then we would have a new optional fee we would have a new optional fee that would essentially cover the capital and sponsorships portion, and then it would be slightly increased because there's like increasing number of projects and requirements, and then that would be the optional portion. Well, how it would operate, we would have like a list of documents that we would have. Once we have them like confirmed and drafted over, I'll send them over to people in WUSA. And I will end that there. And the one last thing I will say is that, and for public disclosure's sake,
Okay, go ahead.
public
Just making
disclosure's sake,
mine.
yeah, this would still be pending approval by the Engineering Society Board of Directors. This is being discussed by an ad hoc committee of the board, but the reason I'm keeping you in the loop is because I assume this will come to the WUSA board for approval in the next 15 days or so, if need be.
All right. Surprise board meeting. Okay. Gotta help us. Okay. Cool.
Maybe
Thank you,
e-resolution.
What's that? Oh,
Hopefully e-resolution, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see if we can wrangle everyone.
April 30th board meeting?
No, not again. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, director reports is kind of really what I was looking for. Okay. Seeing none. Laptop is off. I think with that, we move into confidential session. Okay, excuse me, Mike, can you move us in? 5% better.
You really find the impeachment with 2 weeks left?
All right.
You have to make a note, that this came out of confidential. I think Sanders.
He was about to, yeah.
Oh, apologies. What's going on?
No, you just need to say we came out of confidence.
Oh, yeah.
He was about to.
Thank you. Okay. Got it. Thank you. All right, guys. Can I say, I was gonna say, welcome back to public session. Can I say that? Does that count as well? Welcome back to public session. Let's get what I say now. Welcome back to public session, guys. In confidential, we renewed the committee that we had started. I don't know how else to put that one. We have renewed a committee, an ad hoc committee for an extra year. Can I say the next one? No. Okay. Well, that's what we did.
There's silence in him.
They tell me to shut up. But that's kind of it. Now, well, with that, we are at the end of the agenda. I don't know how to do this in a ceremonious way. I was thinking about preparing like words for the last regular meeting, but I was not able to do that. Notably, this won't be our last actual meeting, as I have surprised you all with a special meeting being called. But, the last regular board meeting is an interesting one. Do you want to say something?
Oh, wait to the end of your speech.
Okay. You have to distract me with the two. You can wait until I finish before you put the two up. But at the risk of repeating myself, this has been a great board. I don't think we always get great boards, and I'm not going to name any specific year, but it's not always. It's not always.
Alluding to it.
It's not always. It's not always. And I'll say I've had great conversations both in these board meetings and outside of them. I'd like to thank staff for making this, I think, a really effective year. We got a lot done this year, and I think that's because of everyone. And so as I kind of come out of this, and I think a lot of us come out of the WUSA sphere to say we can be happy about what we did this year, that we made a difference. And I had to hold off on saying that it was a good board before the election was over, but I was happy with how many people are returning, because I think you guys are great. And on that note, that's the end of what I have to say. So I'll hand it over to Rory. Okay.
I'll say for you leaving, you guys have a much tougher challenge than WUSA, you the job market. You're going people.
Thanks for thanks your forum before I head on.
Highlight of the year.
What's that?
Highlight of the year.
Highlight of the year? Oh God.
You able to dunk you because it got rained?
Yeah, so that was that pissed me off. I was really excited to get dunked at orientation. I have to say highlight of the year had to be the OSAP protests. I think that was a blast. It was inspiring. I expected it to go well. I did not expect it to go that well. And I don't know, I saw everybody get really excited about it. I saw like enthusiasm from staff. I saw enthusiasm for students. I don't know. It's a good moment to see everybody kind of united and excited about one thing. And so I think that had to be a highlight. Actually, the highlight was all of these board meetings. We've spent so much time together, so that's gotta be the highlight. Yeah, I feel like we've had enough.
Which one was your favorite? Which one was your favorite? That's the question.
This one, because this one we got the closest to finishing our time. But at risk of extending it even further and holding staff hostage, I'm gonna take it to a close here. Remy, I want to say anything before?
No.
Okay. On that note, thank you so much, guys. And thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Great
Enjoy your
night. Stay
evening.
in touch.
Omar, you did not just